A lot of people have posted up about making these. These are brushless drive motors for beetleweights. I'll move that so the camera can see it a bit. Now, this is probably going to be the first and last inaugural video of Suv attempts to explain robot stuff. Now, these are just not DYS 1806 23 kilovolt motors bolted to the standard 1000 RPM gearbox that most people use in their Beetles. Normally, they come with this. Now you can see the size difference there. People can write reams about different torque settings and speed controllers, etc. But the important thing is this is smaller, lighter, and more powerful. Now to get from this to this, you do this. Firstly, you need to take usually a cross-edge screwdriver and unbolt it. Now save these two screws for the love of God. Don't do what I nearly did once and lose them. Now I'm stressing this now, this is a different gearbox from the one I have on there, but it's exactly the same principle. I'm just saying that now in case this is attached to it, which it is. That's exciting. Right, so save that. If it decides to stay still. Normally these aren't screwed in like that. Normally these long bolts on the ones that most people use go all the way through to the motor. So we unscrew this. Now I'd also like to point out this motor is knackered. I killed it, don't know how. Probably just by touching it. Stay. You don't have to keep these two screws, but I tend to put them in a pot somewhere. Do keep this, because this is important. Try and keep all these bits together. Now, what you need to do now is get yourself a flathead screwdriver or some small set of thin needle nose pliers, and very gently you want to lever off this pinion gear. Now, once you've got the pinion gear off, for God's sake don't lose the damn thing, then once you've done that, this can go in the bin. And what you end up with is a pinion gear that you can attach to this. Now, when these DYS motors come out the box, the shaft is pointing out this side, not this side. So what I do is get a G-clamp and just very gently press through, and it forces the shaft through and comes out the other side. You might find that the little ring clip sits on here and pokes out. That will be fine. Now, the important thing to do is to attach this pinion gear to the shaft. Now, I don't have a spare one that I haven't done to show you this. What I tend to do is I make an arse of it and send it to Rory. No, you gnarl up the shaft with a pair of pliers, a pair of wire clippers, anything you can do to give it a nice, good surface for the glue to attach. Now, don't use your bog standard super glue like this, okay? This doesn't work. You need araldite or some other form of high-end epoxy, and you basically are needing to leave that. You need to set it so that as you can see, there is a gap, because it needs to sit at the very end, and it needs to be solid. Glue it and leave it for 24 hours. Don't try and jump steps. Now, move these out the way. Mess around with them later. Now, the standard gearboxes that everyone uses come with these. Now these go right through into this end plate and hold it on. Now, the DYS motor comes with these. Now, these you need to locate on this metal plate. Make sure you can see it. If you put it on there, center the pinion and just rotate until you can see the two little screw holes lining up with these two holes here, and then very carefully, if my fingers will do it this morning, put one in, just to make sure it's not going to escape. Don't do it completely tight. Line up the other hole. Fail miserably at trying to do up the screw. And then tighten up. Now, we are assuming that I have glued this correctly and pinion gear is all nice and solid. Now, once that's in, take gearbox. I tend to keep these facing this way. I have sometimes put a bit of tape around the outside just to make sure that this doesn't fall apart, because putting these things back together can either go really well or be an absolute pain in the butt. Now, it should just cinch together nicely. Once it's done that, screw in. And you're gold. Now, one proviso that I've been given with these by a lot of people is don't try and run them on more than 2S, because the motors will just throw the pinions every single time without fail. I have done it about 18 times, hence the reason I just say hand it to Rory and say make it work. Brilliant. I should be able to, assuming that everything's going okay, now cut to a video of me doing some testing with one of these motors.